I really love EVs, and I always will. They delight me in the manner that no other vehicle has ever before. See, with EVs, there's no digging deep to find that buried comedic gem at the bottom of every news story, is there? On the superhighway to electric utopia, there's a vending machine roughly every 500 metres just burping out pre-packaged hilarity, as today's 10 recent EV developments demonstrate. I'm Jim Logan from AutoExpert.com.au, Newcastle cheap but Australia only website. God! Let's get right into it, shall we? Senior British zero-emission warmongering masturbators have developed, if that's the right word in the circumstances, an electric jerry can called Katos. Imagine that. Just what the world needs, an electric jerry can. Or, as they put it, quote, solutions for an electrified battle space. To me, at this point in time, it's merely a fake battery in a box with a handle. It does look quite tactical though, doesn't it? Solus and kinetic with two Qs, of course, one at the start and one at the end. So which genius thought that one up? They mocked up a battery in a jerry can look-alike box. It is allegedly modular, or like it will be if they ever bother building one that works. So you kind of stack them together in your electrified battle space, and you recharge vehicles such as this non-existent electric Land Rover Defender hitbox. This so-called Katos electric jerry can does not actually appear to exist at this point, however. It appears to be a nice but unworkable idea brought to life by the high-tech miracle of marketing wank. There are no specifications such as, I don't know, the weight, the voltage, the dimensions, the storage capacity, seemingly available on the Solus website. But hey, dude, it looks quite butch. And it's obviously a solution for an electrified battle space, so that's nice. Pretty clearly, in future conflicts, I'd argue, the side with the most electrification in its battle space is going to be the loser, owing to the inherent charging downtime of all the machines you need to make war actually work. And which, of course, the diesel and avgas-powered adversaries will exploit, doubtless, to their advantage, their balance-tipping advantage. I know the prospect of a zero-emissions battle space is, impossibly tantalising. We all feel that. But it's really hard to see the greenest, wokest side winning. Just saying. Now, if each Katos electric jerry can module is, 20 kilos, and dude does seem to be carrying it around reasonably effortlessly, one-handed, if it's about 20 kilos, it's going to hold about 2 kilowatt hours of electrical energy because, batteries. So you need between 30 and 50 of them to recharge your future Land Rover EV shitbox. 2 kilowatts, just like one Katos module, would be roughly enough to take that big fat electric shitter a whole 10 Ks, like roughly. If you're lucky, I'd suggest. Electric Defender does not yet exist, but we are told it is coming, so that's something to look forward to. Proudly to be made by Indian-owned Land Rover in Slovakia. Like, what could go wrong? Pro tip. A single diesel jerry can full of diesel, like 20 litres of diesel, and all of that actually exists, and there's no problem with that. We've had them for ages. It's going to weigh about 20 kilos, and it's therefore the same, and it would take a diesel Defender, which also actually exists currently, about 250 kilometres versus 10 for the solution for an electrified battle space. But I get it, dude. Internal combustion is the horse and EVs are the future. Combustion's so legacy. Just one question, okay, if you don't mind. What's going to carry the 50 Kratos modules into position to support the Defender? Okay, and how many Kratos modules are going to be required to support that support vehicle on location, right? And what's going to carry those frickin' Kratos modules? Repeat. If you see this perverse, unworkable collaboration with future clean battlespace masturbators as progress, or any kind of solution for any kind of space, might really be time to consider, I don't know, stronger medication. This report is sponsored by NordVPN. Get 4 extra months of Nord for free now, plus a huge discount at nordvpn.com/AEJC. Online security threats and scams are everywhere, but you don't have to be the next victim. That's where NordVPN comes in. Nord does the stuff that you and I don't really understand in the background, hiding your IP address and locking everything down. Go to nordvpn.com/AEJC now. Your exclusive auto expert discount is huge right now, plus you're going to get 4 extra months completely free. nordvpn.com/AEJC. I'll put a link in the description. Just subscribe, download the app and connect. 1 click later, your IP address is shielded and your online traffic is heavily encrypted across as many as 6 of your devices. Nord is the fastest VPN on the planet. It costs only about as much as 1 cup of coffee every month to keep your data, your identity and your devices secure. Masking your location means you'll also get access to streaming and other services that might be blocked where you live. Plus, you can continue to watch your favourite content when you travel. You might even be able to score some great online travel deals that are unavailable where you live. Go to nordvpn.com/AEJC now. Boost your security and enjoy that huge discount plus those extra 4 months completely free. It's totally risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. That's nordvpn.com/AEJC. Link in the description. Hallelujah. Dude, the F150 Lightning, that mighty pickup from America, is finally here and on sale in Shitsville. This is its first full month on sale. Chris Bowen, Elon Musk's hench boy down under, he's driven it, and he says, and I loves me a good car review, particularly a detailed, well-considered, articulate review like, He says, quote, "It goes like you wouldn't believe." Awesome review. Thanks very much for taking the time, Chris. And you know what? He is dead right. You really would not believe how early the battery in that shitbox craps out when you tow a heavy thing like a caravan or an excavator or a trailer full of tools on the frickin' highway. Now, fully optioned, because we have to talk about the price, it's great too. Fully optioned over in America, the F150 Lightning tops out at about $95,000 if memory serves. Now, this is equivalent to roughly 142,000 Shitsvillian micropesos. Fully loaded over here, however, the same vehicle is going to cost you roughly 280 grand. How exactly does getting it here double the frickin' price? Like, come on. Somebody is certainly having a major lend, are they not? Shipping's a bastard, I get that, but all cars get shipped here, so duh. Plus, I suppose they have to convert it to right-hand drive here. That's probably quite expensive, but on balance, still seems like Australia tax to me, however. And as for its planet-saving potential, yeah, pretty much. So well done, Mr. Bowen. You have achieved absolutely nothing. Again, so consistent. Keep up the awesome work, dude. Electric Jesus has boned more than 10% of the electric Scientology workforce. The share price has tanked. Production's kind of okay, but deliveries have bombed. The supercharger department has been completely disbanded, and the bonings continue across the Tesla software, service, and engineering divisions. Our battery-powered lord is putting his electrified eggs in 2 Faraday cages, basically. Robotaxis, again, and the fake humanoid robot that can't find its own ass with a mirror and instructions called Optimus. That's going to end well, obviously. And all he expects in return for these awesome achievements is a roughly $56 billion bonus. Pro tip on that, okay, if you want to get that in perspective. Tesla has sold about 5 or 6 million vehicles to date, like in total, since the beginning of Tesla. That bonus would therefore roughly equate to about 10 grand for every Tesla ever sold. What's unreasonable about that? And now this, just in from the department of even more crazy shit Tesla owners do. The carrot test, which involves putting a vegetable across the line where a Cybertruck front hatch automatically closes, the better to assess its guillotine potential. This thing is designed not to damage you, but hey, details. YouTuber Joe Fay, definitely not your average Joe, I'd suggest, took this just one step further. Just Google Joe Fay, F-A-Y, together with the words broken finger. Fair warning, though, if you're having your morning coffee, you're likely to eject it through your nose all over the keyboard and screen. Just saying. Mr. Fay is obviously one of those. How could we categorise him? He's a true believer. But in the interest of safety, he prudently decided first to test the mechanism with a stick. Good plan, Joe. The closing hatch promptly broke the stick, which is a bit sort of foreshadowing, is it not? And it broke it like it wasn't even there, with absolutely no hesitation whatsoever. Fuck you, stick, it said. Next, of course, Joe did what any other true believer would do. He disregarded the evidence from the stick test and he tried it on his right index finger because, hey, what would you use that for? This is, of course, an example of the real power of faith. The brilliant stainless steel Tesla, designed by the world's preeminent self-confessed manufacturing genius, promptly snapped his finger also. Go figure. What a surprise. Didn't amputate it, however. That would have been an even more interesting story, I'd suggest. Still, I laughed until I cried, and then I wet myself and had a frickin' hernia. It was that awesome. You can see it today. The E-Safety Commissioner hasn't taken that one down. And then I realised that Joe is not alone. Another genius named Jeremy Judkins. He's run himself a similar experiment, dude, with, you guessed it, exactly the same result. Albert Einstein would have been so proud of Jezza. Well done, dude. I, therefore, call on Electric Jesus to release a special edition Cybertruck in homage to the faithful, like Below Average Joe and Guillotine Jezza, as he should probably be known by now. And, of course, those faithful to come on this. Perhaps EJ could call it the Cybertruck Merchant of Venice edition. Now, only someone who has read the classics will appreciate why. Dig deep, dude, and let me know if you know in the comments. Some really good uplifting news for electric Scientology now. Briefly, production is fine. That's the end of the good news, and we have to persevere and move on somehow. So where to next, dude? An obvious segue is that sales, however, are somewhat emphatically shit. Jalopnik is reporting that Tesla made 46,561 more cars than it produced in the first quarter of 2024. If you're a car maker, that's bad, because there's a really simple equation for all car makers. If production does not equal sales, you're going out the back door, and you're headed there quite quickly. Where exactly are all of these unsold Teslas? 45 and a bit thousand of them. You could see them from space. And according to Jalopnik, they are located in car parks at Tesla factories, as well as in shopping malls and at airports. The Chesterfield Mall, for example, which is a kind of zombified shopping mall roughly 30 k's west of St. Louis. That would be 20 miles or so, I think. It's become quite popular for dumping superfluous Teslas. Meanwhile, over in Germany, residents of the cosy hamlet known as New Hardenberg have developed something of a weapons-grade dose of the number twos with Tesla, owing to the noise of diesel transporters endlessly squirreling away unsold Teslas at the nearby regional airport. And I wonder how long until BYD pulls their ripcord and Tesla becomes a burn-your-driveway sub-brand. They bail them out and end up with the brand. BYD's Genesis, Tesla. If I were a vulture, I'd be taking off and making it my business to block out the sun in coming months. Swede-Chinese car maker Volvo has been unplugged in America, mainly by market forces. Now, there's some good news here. Volvo Cars sold a record number of vehicles in March, and its shares climbed 4%. Trouser teepees all around in the boardroom, I'd suggest, even for the dudettes, metaphorically, and they do love that. Hashtag equality. Almost 79,000 Volvos. Like, you go, girl. A record for any month, ever. 25% lift compared with March of last year. And 12% up for the first quarter, so that's nice. Just pleased to see you, dude. Pleased about our commercial performance for the first quarter. Don't mind me. We've all got one. But in America, customers have said worryingly and somewhat emphatically, fuck you, fully electric Volvo. I'm paraphrasing. Volvo sales are up 50% in Trumpistan, that's in total, but fully electric Volvo sales are down by a hefty 66% for March. Ouch. Tesla also posted a decline in first quarter deliveries for the first time in roughly 4 years. That's for any quarter, not just first quarter. There is, let's be kind, I'd suggest, an adjustment of sorts afoot in the American car industry. An organisation you may never have heard of, VRA Rescue New South Wales, is the volunteer rescue organisation in this state. They get people off cliffs and out of the bush, and essentially they turn frowns upside down, to the extent possible, anywhere in which the environment militates and hands the unfortunate a logistical shit sandwich. They're good people who do a really hard job. This includes rescue from crashed and even burning cars, which is something of a time-sensitive undertaking occasionally. VRA Rescue Commissioner Brenton Charlton recently delivered a somewhat sobering message to the useless New South Wales government's electric and hybrid vehicle batteries inquiry. We need to prepare ourselves and our volunteers for the point in time we have to do a tactical disengagement, meaning if someone's trapped and it does explode, you might not be able to do anything. That will be a tragic, horrible thing to take part in. Yeah, it will. That will be so traumatic. Like, imagine being there, leaving someone to burn in agony, trapped in a car, simply because there's no possibility of a rescue and every likelihood that the rescuers will be badly injured if they attempt such a thing. Imagine being a bystander at that. Like, PTSD, here we come. Now, when I keep harping on about risk management and deploying EVs in some logical, integrated way across society, this is the kind of thing I mean we should be striving to avoid. Nobody has the training or systematic protections in place, but those in power calling the shots are quite okay rolling EVs out in spite of this, which in my view is disgraceful. If you did this in a workplace with other machinery, you would get shot. With EVs, of course, the risk of fire is low, everyone acknowledges that, but the consequences potentially kind of high, and this is going to be the landscape of electric utopia. the more populous you make something, the more big batteries in big vehicles you put in society, the more of these low probability events are going to occur. That is what electric utopia is, right? Imagine the first time a freaking EV goes up in, say, the Sydney Opera House underground car park 15 to 30 minutes after the end of, Christ knows, Evita or something. If you think anyone official is prepared to deal with this kind of thing effectively, you really have not been paying attention, dude. And I would argue that instead of their bullshit identity politics and other fairly irrelevant woke agendas, perhaps the various governments could just take a moment to wake up and get their risk management shit together. It's just a suggestion, okay? E-scooter and e-bike hilarity now. Last year, fires involving these delightfully entertaining e-mobility devices tripled in New South Wales. There were 61 such fires in total last year for the whole year. As of mid-March this year, 45 fires so far. So just do the maths, pro rata, dude. We're on track for about, 180 to 200 fires this year. Another tripling. How friggin' interesting. New York, similar story there, 268 e-mobility fires in 2023. Now, those fires killed 18 people and injured 150 more. This is kind of a serious thing in cities. It's going to get more and more common. And let us do civil engineering for dummies. Chapter 1, apartment design. All the utility rooms in apartments, typically, such as the laundries and vestibules where e-mobility products are likely to be stored, like you drag them up in the lift and you put them in the laundry or something, or the vestibule, right? These places are near the main door to the dwelling, which is centrally located in the building, kind of near the elevator shafts and, of course, the fire stairs, which you would use to escape in an emergency. This allows also the living areas and the bedrooms to benefit from things like windows, which deliver views and natural light, etc. So if your e-scooter goes into full crematorium mode in your apartment, it's likely to be between you and the exit. So the fire and the toxic fumes are going to be between you and the only exit from your apartment. How well thought out, I'd suggest. Why is nobody talking about this as a very real safety risk? This seems utterly crazy to me. And where you store your e-scooter or your e-bike is really, really important, dude. And the fact that there's no public information of this nature is insane. And now, from the Department of Interesting Human Psychology Factoids, every time new technology rolls out, okay, humanity invents an even better idiot who sprints in with no fear and auditions for a Darwin Award. Therefore, let us make friends with the wet towel life hack, or, as I prefer to think of it, the wet towel death hack. The backstory here, okay? Apparently Tesla's V2 supercharger cables and the handle, like the plug that you connect to the car, they're not actively cooled. They just convect, like they lose heat naturally by convection to the air around them. So at times, apparently when they're in full sun and the ambient temperature's high, the handles get kind of hot and a temperature sensor inside the device throttles back the charge rate to prevent, getting on the news. According to express.co.uk, upliftingly, geniuses at out-of-spec studios have tested this so-called wet towel hack, wherein an idiot who never studied basic physics places a wet towel on a hot supercharger handle to cool it conductively. Plugged in a Tesla at 2% state of charge, ramped up to 147 kilowatts as normal, and thermal throttled at 34% down to 58 kilowatts. Slap that room temperature soaking wet rag, and it climbed back up to 119 kilowatts, where it hit the internal charge profile limit. Amazing. Yeah, dude. Amazing. Amazing that anyone could be quite that fucking stupid A domestic power point, just for reference, here in Australia, rated at 230 volts and a maximum of 10 amps. But in reality, it's probably not going to trip the breaker in the meter box unless you draw more like 20 amps from that circuit. That's going to be about 5 kilowatts, like ballpark. And that 5 kilowatts is easily enough to kill you, right? More than enough. The supercharger is 20 to 25 times more power than that. So pretty freaking deadly, I'd suggest. So we're talking about you potentially betting your life on the perfect insulation integrity of a device that is perhaps several years old, potentially, has been baking in UV radiation and might have been dropped repeatedly and otherwise bent and abused in operation by unknown median dickheads before you rock up and you drape it with your freaking wet towel death hack. Good idea. Pro tip. If you really need to cool the handle, use shade, like from an umbrella or something, and get a portable battery-powered fan. Forced convection, so effective. And, of course, so hard to die. Finally, a man with way too much spare time and a pretty decent table saw has built a wooden Cybertruck. ND Woodard has put the carbide tip blade to some very high quality Baltic birch ply indeed, and paid homage in cellulose to the world's most ridiculous vehicle, a rolling stainless steel urinal designed by a genius with inbuilt guillotine mode. Who doesn't want one? The world's most expensive rolling urinal designed for rich idiots who can't see it for the singular masturbatory fantasy it really is. Such an icon really does deserve more recognition and acknowledgement of this nature, I feel. This is not Mr. Woodard's first rodeo, of course. He's previously made wooden sports cars, motorcycles, and even a tank. No word yet on the battle efficacy of a wooden tank, but it is a solution for an electrified battle space, obviously, and it probably is also fairly transparent to radar. So there's that. And like its stainless steel counterpart, the wooden Cybertruck doubtless also floats, albeit for slightly different reasons. Still Archimedes related, though, obviously. And any dents you experience in service may be easily sanded out. No word yet from Mr. Woodard on the welder settings he used in the project. And for fuck's sake, dude, I can never get them right on wood, which is why I hate that shit. Now, hopefully, this is going to be the first in a long and distinguished line of upcoming wooden glue-it-yourself EVs. And you would love to see that, admit it, dude. It's just not going to be so practical in a room full of ravenous beavers. And we've all seen what happens in those movies.